Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So out at the range today, and there was only one other guy that was here shooting just a couple benches down from me, but he just pulled over to the pistol side, but wanted to walk down, show you guys the target so far, and then we'll head back to the house and kind of go over the results because we got some weird stuff going on. But one of the updates here at the range, you guys can kind of see these mounds with steel targets. So looks like Don added sort of some berms, little mini berms around some of these standing steel targets. Now, when I first became a member here at Hobbs Island Shooting Range, one of the big selling points and one of the nice features was he used to have steel targets set up. I mean, they were scattered throughout the range over here on the 100-yard side, and then this goes over to, that goes out to like 380. And so he had steel targets set up throughout the range, which was really nice because you could pull up and confirm, you know, 0 or whatever if you wanted to just sort of double check, like, hey, I want to make sure I'm on at 100 yards, 200 yards, 300 yards. He had steel targets and you could shoot them, and then of course you just run down there and spray paint them. But then it reached a point where, you know, you got every John Wick that runs out here with his AR and he's LARPing and he wants to do mag dumps and absolutely destroy the steel and the target, not just the steel, but like the little stands and stuff, the T-post. It reached a point where, you know, he actually did away with all the steel targets, moved them up into the office, and you had to go physically check them out every time you wanted to use them, which of course is a pain in the butt because then you got to stop, you got to go in there, check out the steel targets, come down here, set them up. It's a pain. So this is pretty cool. Hopefully this sticks around, you know, and he doesn't do away with it. But yeah, so that's a pretty cool update. So on the target's looking pretty good. Not too bad. A couple of the ones, you know, we're making note of. Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. Let's see. Not bad. It's not bad. I actually pulled that shot. I dropped that one down low. That was 100% on me. I knew it when I pulled the trigger, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, and then that's just a couple to confirm my 0 with my 30 Thompson center, and then another 3-shot. Okay, so overall not bad. I got to get back. I got a couple more groups I need to shoot, and then we're gonna head to the house. So you guys just sit tight. We'll head back to the house and go over the results, both in terms of group size and velocity. So you guys stick around. All right, so back at the house, let's go over the initial results, just sort of throwing some rounds down range in this new Remington 700 Tactical chambered in 308, which is sitting in this Magpul Pro Light chassis with a Magpul bipod on it, and the OG SWFA fixed 10 by 42 scope, SWFA SS 10 by 42, the original. So yeah, went out to the range. One thing I will make note of is a huge improvement or upgrade on this particular system would definitely be the trigger. It still has the factory Remington 700 trigger in it, and it is not that great at all. So with that out of the way, I ended up loading up or assembling the components that I showed sort of in the kickoff video. This is Peterson brass with CCI number 200 large rifle primers, using Shooter's World match rifle powder and the Barnes 175 grain match burner bullet. Now I started at 41 grains and went all the way up to 47 grains. So 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, and 47. I did not shoot these last two charge weights simply because I was I basically reached a point where I was going, okay, I feel pretty good in terms of how the rifle is shooting, the data that I've gotten. I don't really want to push it any further. I didn't see a need to. I did start to get a more pronounced, and it's not going to come through on the camera. There you go, you can see it. I did start to get a more pronounced crater on the primer, just going from the 41 grain. You can see not as pronounced. I mean, it might look the same on the video. I realize that the way this is coming through and the light and everything, but I can assure you in person, the primer crater got worse as we went up in charge weight. And then we hit the 45 grain charge, and our velocity was 27.25. That was the average across the 5 shots with an SD of 10. I was like, you know what? There's really no point in pushing it any further. I'm just going to pull these bullets, and then these last 10, I'll probably just load up with, I don't know. I'm thinking the 44 grain charge, I believe, is what I might go with. So let's kind of walk through that. This was the 41 grain charge, actually. I had to bore sight everything, and this was my point of aim. That was my point of impact, so not bad at all. It was just a bore sight job at 100 yards. So there's those 5. That's about an 1.25 inch group, just a hair under. Wait, no. Yeah, I measured these now. I'm just trying to remember all of them. This is pretty close to an inch. This one, this is the 42 grain. This is, 1.25 inches. You got the 4 and then the 5th one. And then, so that's 41, 42, 43 was here. Same deal, is about 1.25 inches. That's 43 grain charge. And then here's the 44 grain charge. And our SDs for these first 3 were not that great. I mean, they were in the teens. Like, I think that one, the SD was 20, and then the rest of these the other 2 were in the high teens. The 44 grain charge is where it really started tightening up, not only group size, but the velocity consistency. The SD was 5.9 on that one. We were averaging like 2660 on the velocity. And that's the shot that I was talking about where I knew that I had pulled it low and to the right. As soon as I fired the round, I was like, just one of those deals. Pulled it low and to the right, is what it is. So the group is actually an inch with that shot, which is frustrating because these other 4 I'd put into a half inch. So not bad there. And then this was the 45 grain charge. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you see those are the 5 right there. Not bad, but again, like I was saying, probably just roll with that 44 grain charge. Yeah, so overall, very, very pleased with how this entire system kind of came together and shot on this initial sort of range trip. I again, no clue how many rounds have been put on this rifle. It doesn't really seem like it's been shot that much, but who knows. I was just very pleased. Again, I didn't do any brass prep to this Peterson brass. Well, I take that back. The only prep that I did was a chamfer and deburr on the case mouth. That was it. I just pulled the stuff straight out of the pack, primed it, dumped powder in it, seated the bullet, and went to the range. So there you go. Pretty good results, I would say. I do want to focus in on that 44 grain charge. What I'll probably do is pull these, load all 10 of these with the 44 grain charge, go back, just get 10 more data points for velocity's sake. Make sure we can kind of, and I'll probably use those 10 to sort of finalize the 0 for that particular charge weight. We'll come back, we'll prep all the brass, we'll just load all of them with that 44 grain charge weight and just go from there. Might actually mess around, maybe go 2 tenths higher, 2 tenths lower, and just sort of see what that's looking like. But yeah, overall, really, really pleased with the initial range trip and the performance of this whole setup. So that's it, guys. Short video. Just wanted to bring you guys the initial results with this bullet. Again, like I said, I've generally had good luck with these Barnes match bullets, the match burners. So, all right, that's it and that's all. Hope you guys have a good one. We'll catch you next time.